An elderly woman took in a small, helpless kitten, but when the unusual pet grew up, she nearly screamed in horror. Marta, a woman of advanced age, lived in a cozy house on the edge of a small town. After her husband's death, she was left all alone, and her days became monotonous and quiet. Her only comfort was the flowers in her garden, which she cared for with special tenderness. Every morning, Marta would wake up with the first rays of the sun, make herself a cup of fragrant tea, and step out onto the veranda. She would sit for long periods in her old rocking chair, watching nature awaken and remembering the happy years she had spent with her husband. Neighbors invited Marta for tea and offered to go to the store with her, but she increasingly refused, preferring solitude. Loneliness gradually became her faithful companion. One chilly autumn evening, Marta heard a strange sound coming from the yard. Throwing a warm shawl over her shoulders, she stepped onto the porch and listened. The sound repeated. It was a pitiful squeak, like the cry of a kitten. The wind picked up, and large drops of rain began to beat against the roof. Marta hesitated, wondering if it was worth going outside in such weather, but the squeaking grew louder. Deciding to investigate, she took a flashlight and stepped into the darkness. Carefully treading on the wet grass, Marta circled the house. In the flashlight's beam, she saw something moving near an old oak tree. Looking closely, she saw a tiny, fluffy ball, shivering from the cold and fear. Marta's heart melted. She gently picked up the little one and held it to her chest. It was a tiny kitten, with exceptionally soft gray-brown fur. Its big eyes looked up at her with fear. Suddenly, there was a loud clap of thunder. The kitten trembled and clung to Marta's sweater with its claws. She quickly hurried back into the house, feeling the little heart beating next to her own. The woman washed the kitten with warm water, dried it with a soft towel, and fed it warm milk. The kitten drank eagerly, then curled up on Marta's lap and fell asleep. Marta didn't sleep a wink that night, listening to the kitten's breathing, worried it might get sick after being in the cold for so long. Luckily, by morning, the kitten appeared healthy and even playful. The next morning, the kitten was more energetic, curiously exploring its new home and tentatively stepping across the carpet. Marta decided to name him Oliver. She called the local veterinary clinic and made an appointment to ensure the kitten was healthy. Dr. Brown examined Oliver and confirmed he was healthy but required special care due to his young age. From then on, Marta's life gained new meaning. She enjoyed watching Oliver grow and develop. He turned out to be remarkably smart and playful. Soon, Marta noticed that Oliver was a bit different from ordinary kittens. He had very round yellow eyes, fluffy cheeks, and short legs. Marta assumed these were just traits of his breed and didn't pay much attention to it. Each day brought new discoveries. Marta watched in amazement as Oliver skillfully climbed the curtains despite his short legs. He would sit on the windowsill for hours, watching birds and squirrels in the garden. Weeks passed, and Oliver grew much faster than other cats his age. His fur became thicker and fluffier, especially on his cheeks and tail. Marta adored her pet and spoiled him with treats. One day, Marta bought Oliver a toy, a little mouse on a string. To her surprise, the kitten reacted with incredible excitement. He crouched low to the ground like a real hunter and darted at his prey with lightning speed. When Marta worked in the garden, Oliver would sit nearby, closely watching her every move. In the evenings, he would curl up on her lap while she read or watched television. Oliver's presence improved Marta's well-being. She thought less about her loneliness, moved more, and smiled more often. Even the pain in her joints seemed to lessen. One day, Oliver suddenly froze while they were in the garden. Marta saw a field mouse darting through the grass, and Oliver instantly caught it with a single leap. His hunting instinct surprised her. Another day, Marta tried to take Oliver to the store with a special leash, but he stubbornly refused to wear it, showing his independent nature. As winter approached, Oliver's fur became even fluffier, taking on a beautiful silvery hue. Marta could spend hours admiring him as he gracefully moved around the house or played with his toy mouse. Then, Marta noticed other oddities. Oliver showed no interest in catnip, which most cats loved, but instead chewed on twigs and grass from the garden. One day, when a vase fell and shattered, Oliver growled like a wild predator instead of meowing, puzzling Marta. One day, Marta's friend Susan came to visit. Upon seeing Oliver, she exclaimed, "My goodness, Marta. What kind of animal is that? He doesn't look like a regular cat at all." These words made Marta take a closer look at her pet. There was indeed something wild about his appearance. The round face, small ears, and bushy tail didn't quite fit a domestic cat. Marta took Oliver to the vet for another examination. Dr. Brown examined Oliver for a long time, growing more puzzled. Finally, he said, "Mrs. Thompson, I'm not sure, but your Oliver might not be a domestic cat. We need to run some tests." Marta spent the next few days in anxious anticipation. When the test results came back, Dr. Brown invited Marta for an important conversation. "Mrs. Thompson," he began, "the results are astonishing. Oliver isn't a domestic cat. He's a Pallas cat, a rare wild feline native to the steppes of Central Asia." Marta felt dizzy. Dr. Brown explained that Pallas cats are endangered and poorly adapted to captivity. "You've done an amazing job raising him, but he needs special care." Marta was heartbroken. She had grown so attached to Oliver that the thought of parting with him was unbearable, but she knew she couldn't provide the care he needed. After consulting with experts, Marta made the difficult decision to transfer Oliver to a wildlife rehabilitation center. The day of their parting was the hardest of Marta's life. She cried as she said goodbye to her beloved companion, but the center's staff assured her that they would take good care of him. Months passed, and Marta received updates on Oliver's progress. He had grown stronger and was showing the true behaviors of a wild animal. Specialists believed he would soon be ready for release into the wild. Marta was invited to the reserve where Oliver would be released. When the cage was opened, Oliver hesitated before running towards another Pallas's cat. Within moments, both animals disappeared into the tall grass. Marta stood watching, knowing she had made the right decision. This experience changed her forever, teaching her to appreciate the beauty of nature and the importance of preserving endangered species.